The United States in the Russo-Japanese War, 1904 to 1905. The Russo-Japanese War, 1904 to 1905, fought between Russia and Japan over control of Manchuria and Korea, had significant implications for global politics, including the United States' role in East Asia. While the U.S. did not directly participate in the conflict, it played a crucial diplomatic role, leveraging its position to influence the outcome and shape the post-war balance of power in the region. Neutral stance and strategic interests. At the start of the Russo-Japanese War, the United States adopted a neutral stance, which was consistent with its broader foreign policy of avoiding entanglements in European and Asian conflicts. However, the war's geopolitical ramifications meant that the U.S. had a strong interest in the conflict's outcome. 1. Maintaining peace in the Pacific. The U.S. was keen on maintaining peace in the Pacific, where its own imperial interests were growing, particularly after the acquisition of the Philippines following the Spanish-American War, 1898. The U.S. viewed the growing tensions between Russia and Japan with concern, as any destabilization in the region could threaten American influence, particularly in China and the broader Pacific. 2. Economic interests. The U.S. also had significant economic interests in the region. Both Russia and Japan were important trading partners, and the outcome of the war would have direct implications for U.S. trade. The U.S. sought to ensure that neither Russia nor Japan gained total dominance over key trade routes or areas like Manchuria and Korea, which were vital to American commercial interests. Diplomatic role and the Treaty of Portsmouth. The most significant American involvement in the Russo-Japanese War came after the fighting ended. The U.S., under President Theodore Roosevelt, played a pivotal diplomatic role in brokering peace between the warring nations. 1. Mediation efforts. By the summer of 1905, both Russia and Japan were exhausted by the prolonged conflict and suffering heavy casualties. The war was also draining both countries' resources. The U.S. saw an opportunity to mediate peace talks and prevent further escalation, while simultaneously asserting its influence as a rising global power. 2. The Treaty of Portsmouth. In August 1905, President Roosevelt invited representatives from both Russia and Japan to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, to negotiate peace. The resulting Treaty of Portsmouth formally ended the war, with Japan gaining control over Korea and significant portions of Manchuria, including the strategically important Port Arthur. Roosevelt's successful mediation earned him the Nobel Peace Prize in 1906, marking the United States as an influential force in international diplomacy. Impact on U.S. foreign policy. 1. Rise as a global power. The U.S. emerged from the Russo-Japanese War as a more assertive player on the world stage. The successful mediation of peace between two major powers in East Asia showcased American diplomatic prowess and signaled the country's growing influence in global affairs. 2. The open door policy. The outcome of the war reinforced the open door policy in China, a U.S. initiative aimed at ensuring that all nations had equal access to Chinese markets. Japan's victory over Russia helped consolidate its influence in East Asia, which the U.S. sought to manage through diplomatic channels, ensuring that the region remained open to American trade and not dominated by any single power. Conclusion. While the United States did not directly engage in the Russo-Japanese War, its role as a mediator in the peace process and its interest in the war's outcome marked a turning point in American foreign policy. The successful negotiation of the Treaty of Portsmouth showcased the United States' rising status as an international power and demonstrated its ability to influence global diplomacy. The war itself had lasting effects on U.S. strategic thinking in the Pacific, paving the way for the country's continued engagement in East Asian affairs in the years to come.